Hello, my name is Elena. I have a question. How do I learn to respect sincerely?
This is a serious question. Respect stems from knowledge. In general, it's very difficult to respect a person because people, especially those close to us, bring us our fate. So fate always means pain. When a person experiences pain, they lose knowledge about the good in people. They only see the bad in them at this moment. And to respect means to help these people, to care for them despite fate. And when we care for someone, gratitude comes from them, and gratitude brings out the pure and bright in a person, while hiding the dirty. Therefore, when we care for other people, we can also respect them, but caring for a person means believing in them from the very beginning. In general, this concept of faith is very complex. It's very difficult to apply it in relationships with people, because you need to be deeply convinced that people are those who bring you good. This is very difficult. You need to do a lot of good for people to think this way. Therefore, respect, in general, is the result of a very deep experience of caring for people and relationships with people. And in fact, respect for people means a very high level of personal development. So you've set the high bar for yourself. Maybe you won't be able to achieve it for a long time. It's especially difficult to respect close people because through them, a person experiences the most pain in life.
Okay, then how to lower the bar? Where to start?
I can tell you personally because you are a very wise person. You have already started long ago. You need to continue. You need to find yourself a mentor. Then through a mentor, you will see an example of a pure person. And through this person, you will be able to see the purity of others. This is the only fastest way to see purity, to find purity in at least one person, and then through this person see purity in others.
How to search for a mentor?
A mentor is not searched for. A mentor is anyone who gives me knowledge. There is only one mentor, it's God, and God acts through everyone. For example, a tree teaches a person patience, a dog, loyalty, an eagle, attention span. That means even nature teaches a person, not just people. When a wife shouts, wants to say something, yells, "You're this and that," these are also instructions, but they are not of quite the right mood, so to speak. But these are also instructions because there is definitely truth in what she says. So there are mentors, it's just that the ability to get a more exalted mentor means a greater ability to obey or listen. So God gives the opportunity to see such a person and get closer to them, thanks to personal development. That means when a person is really able to hear what they don't like and accept it, then the person receives a mentor of a higher category, depending on their capabilities. We all have mentors. There's a husband, a wife. These are mentors. Even children sometimes give instructions. Can we hear them? That's the question. Yesterday, one person prepared a meal for me, and I was saying something like, "This is not right. This is right." And when I thanked him strongly afterwards for what he had prepared, he then smiled and said, "Glad to serve you, my Lord." And this was an instruction. It was an instruction that literally translated to, "You are too proud a person." He spoke so sincerely, but I understood this through my heart. I said to him, "I'm sorry, maybe I'm not behaving correctly, but I could have said something else."
Thank you.
Next time I'll choose who to ask, because there are people who really need me to ask them because it's very difficult for them. I see such people in the hall. Life is hard, for example. Raise your hand again, I can't see you.
Should I continue?
Yes.
It's important for me to know how important professional self-realization is for a woman. Why is this important to me? This question constantly bothers me. I have this need, and I would like that.
You're trying to convince me that it's important, right?
No, I would like to ask you, because this topic is quite difficult for me, because there are constantly some obstacles, and maybe I don't need this.
You see, she listens to my lectures. I already understood this from the conversation. Since in my lectures I say what's important for a woman, I say many times, it's important to get married first. So she had a contradiction. I want to realize myself in my profession so much, but Dr. Torsunov doesn't allow me to. And now there's an opportunity to ask personally, why, Dr. Torsunov, are you not letting me realize myself in my profession, right?
I want to. It bothers me.
Well, go ahead and realize yourself.
But it's always such a thorny path for me. Very much so.
Yes.
I strive. I am trying.
Well, excellent.
Or maybe it's just not necessary, and I should enjoy being with my family now.
Do you have a family?
Yes, of course.
Well, if you have a family, then everything is already fine. Because if there's no family, a woman's psyche is very restless in search of close relationships, and she starts looking for these close relationships at work. And when she immerses herself in these close relationships there, while there are business relationships at work, she becomes disappointed in this work and leaves, even if it's a good work for her. In other words, the absence of close relationships prevents a woman from finding herself in a career because she constantly experiences pain there. Because a woman still wants close relationships first and foremost, rather than fulfilling herself in any activity. But if you already have close relationships, and you've already gained stability and calmness there, then you should now move on to the next stage, which is to find yourself in an activity. This is normal.
For some people it comes very easily, as if by itself, but for me it's somehow difficult. Why?
Well, it all depends on desire. For example, if a woman very strongly wants to get married, it's very difficult for her to do it. But if she simply loves everyone, cares for everyone, then it's very easy for her to get married because she has a calm attitude towards these desires. For you to listen to me during the lecture, I would give the lecture with this intonation. Do you like my talk? And you would immediately leave, well, I'd better go.
So to moderate the desire?
You can't moderate desire because a woman generally doesn't control her desires, and she can't even forget it, unlike a man. A man forgets his desire, men. Are you listening? Let's say your wife wants something. She wants a dress, for example. She can't forget the desire. A woman's psyche is structured in such a way that her desire is not forgotten. Raise your hand, ladies, who can forget their desires. Are there any? No, not one raised her hand. How? When it's fulfilled? Well, that's obvious. I also say, when I'm full, I say, I can endure hunger. This is obvious. Therefore, you simply need to accept that you have a strong desire to realize yourself in activity, a very strong desire. And it's even impossible to forget. You just need to continue living like this, that's all.
And then everything will work out?
No.
So what's the point?
The point is that when a person accepts something in their life, it becomes easier for them. For example, you accept that you have such an irrepressible desire to realize yourself in activity. Then in this case, you will be able to gradually move in the right direction. The next step is not to try to realize yourself in activity, but to try to help other people in your activity, to do something useful for people. If you start going this way, taking into account that you have such a strong desire for self-realization in activity, you invest your energy there, you try not to satisfy your desire, but try to do something for people in this direction, then you will be able to realize yourself in activity. But first you need to accept this irrepressible desire within yourself. Say, yes, I am like this and there's nothing I can do about it.
Thank you.
We still have time for questions and answers. We'll start the lecture at 6. Raise your hands and I'll choose. Well, let's go with you over there.
Hello. I have a daughter. She does rhythmic gymnastics. She really likes it, but I see that it's very difficult for her. How can I help her?
Comfort her, but it will be difficult for her, you're right. She's not that type of person. She gets tired quickly. There are people who have a lot of energy in life, but she has little, and you just need to explain to her that she should rest and then practice. You need to explain to her that she won't be able to practice like everyone else, so intensely, and to stay very energetic. God gave her these abilities and she gets tired. Rest, then practice again, but you'll never be a champion. Or you need to explain to her, if you like it, keep practicing, but don't strive for some extraordinary results.
Thank you.
You also get tired quickly, don't you?
Yes, I'm the same.
Well, you see, it's easy for you to explain this to her.
Thank you very much.
There's a girl in the 4th row with light hair.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. Thank you for coming to us. Thank you for your lectures. They really provide a lot of answers to questions that arise. And I've been thinking for a long time whether to ask this or not. How to correctly build relationships with relatives so that...
Stay away from them. Stay away. You need to keep your distance because you get emotionally involved in relationships very intensely, and then it turns into very severe pain. And the reason is your desire to experience happiness from them. You are very sociable by nature. You want to love everyone, to be friends with everyone. This is impossible. It's impossible. You need to find good friends with whom you'll be happy in relationships. We have the Good People Club. For example, the girls there are all joyful, active like you. You can be friends with them, for instance. Or are there any other options?
I just want to ask one more thing. How can I, specifically, change this inside myself so that I don't want these relationships?
It's impossible to do that. You need to seek other relationships. You need to understand that our true relatives are those who are close to us in spirit. Often people pin too many hopes on relatives in life. Relatives are different people. They have different desires, different directions in life, and not all people can go in the same direction. Look for like-minded people. They will be your relatives. But you're trying to get from your relatives something they can never give you, and you're disappointed because of this.
Thank you very much.
There's a girl in the back with light hair.
Good evening. I also thank you for coming to our city.
You should never be disappointed in life under any circumstances.
The next question. The breakup with my ex-boyfriend was very painful for me.
It doesn't matter. If you're disappointed, that's a downward path. You need to get back on your feet. You need to rise against disappointment.
After this relationship, I crumpled up a lot of feelings somewhere deep inside myself. And now it's very difficult for me to open up. I'm constantly afraid of finding someone who won't understand me either, and that everything won't work out. How can I get rid of this inner conviction?
This is called disappointment. It needs to be removed from the heart with the help of inner strength. You need to distract yourself from yourself and start helping other people, caring for everyone. When a person, through severe pain, feels disappointment in someone, let's say a man, it's a hopeless situation. It's impossible to break out of it and impossible to find someone else. You need to distract yourself from this situation. You need to start doing something else. You just need to start helping other people, caring for everyone. So you need to go a different way, not immediately find someone for yourself. You can't do it now because you're broken.
I'm not trying to find someone now.
Because you're broken, a fracture has occurred in your heart. A person should never allow themselves to break. When they break, it's a long path of recovery ahead. You shouldn't break. And the break stems from a strong belief in a person. When you strongly believe in a person instead of God, then a strong disappointment will follow. It puts a person into a long depression, a prolonged state in which they will have to change their faith. So now you need to change your faith, but it's a long journey. You won't be able to do this in 5 minutes.
How long will this approximately last?
It will last about 1.5 years for you.
Another 1.5 years from the moment of the breakup?
No, from now another 1.5 years. You need to understand that you shouldn't think about this now. You just need to love people, take care of everyone, get out of your isolation now. Who's sitting next to you? Your mom? A friend? You need to love everyone, take care of everyone, increase your physical activity. You're very passive. You need to move more.
I work from home. I'm a tutor.
There's always time for movement. You need to find time.
I try to go outside every day, of course, when there are important things to do.
No, you need to move. For example, just start with walking, then start running. You have a lack of physical activity.
Yes, that's true.
It creates low blood pressure, hormonal disorders, and so on. These are big problems. It also affects the psyche.
I recently broke my leg. I came to you still limping.
Then move with your arms if you can't with your legs. You need to move. Without movement, a person simply becomes sick, unhappy. And try to do something good for someone. Don't get stuck in your brokenness. And most importantly, understand that this person who left you, you're now deifying him. You always remember him, compare everything with him. This is a disease. This is wrong because he's not like you think. That means he's completely different. You've made an idol out of him, you see. You're now worshiping him. This is a big problem. You need to find a way to worship God internally and put the person in second place. Because a person is needed to live with them, to care for them, but you shouldn't believe in a person so strongly because it leads to defeat in life.
Thank you very much.
Try to get out of it.
Thank you. I'll try.
Never break down in your life again. When you feel that fate is breaking you, get out of it. Try to escape. Don't allow yourself to break. This is very dangerous for your fate. It takes many years to recover afterwards.
May I?
I don't know. She's too insistent. This means she won't listen to the answers. Let's take the girl in front of her.
Thank you. Dr. Torsunov, good evening. My name is Tatiana. I have a question for you about family relationships. This summer, my husband left me. He left me for another woman.
Why?
Why did he leave? Because I'm a terrible wife.
No.
Karma?
No.
Selfish?
No.
I imagined it myself, programmed it.
No.
I'm confused.
You need to figure out this question. Why did he leave you? Because there is such a concept as self-esteem. In relationships, a person should always keep their self-esteem in such a way that they are neither humiliated nor proud of themselves.
So I was humiliating him? It turns out I was mistreating him.
This is called pride. If you're proud of yourself, then relationships fall apart. Or if you're humiliated in the relationship, as you're now, going to the other extreme. He doesn't need you anymore either because you're already humiliated. A humiliated person is not needed by anyone. You need to learn to keep your self-esteem in check, not letting it fly either way, and then relationships will be maintained. If lectures were to be read loudly now, hello my dears, you would think, oh, I better go. I won't ever listen to all this. You'll leave. Or if I speak with a trembling voice, I'm glad to see you all. The same thing? You would leave? Relationships are always possible when there's a correct inner position in one's heart towards others. And this correct position means the ability to love, because if the inner position is incorrect, the ability to love fades. You began to destroy the relationship by putting the person below you, but now you're doing the opposite. You're putting yourself below him, and again you're destroying the relationship. This is the other extreme.
I just have such a question. At the moment, I don't need to build any relationships anymore.
It's like all women do. Get burned, need to rest. A woman gets burned, and then she is resting. She can't build new relationships right away, and when she's resting, she thinks no one is needed, will never be needed. That's it. She thinks like this for some time, and she even gets upset with God during this time.
I'm not upset, just some time must pass anyway.
Of course, of course.
At the moment, I'm pushing away all admirers. There are such people. We are weak women. It's hard for me to be alone. We were in a relationship, married for 11 years. It's just when I was left alone.
Does your husband want to come back?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't? Are you sure?
He hasn't expressed any desire.
Does he have a relationship now?
Yes.
And if he wants to come back, but you've already found someone else, what then?
That's a different question.
No, it's not a different question. It's the first question.
Will I be able to accept? I just can't break myself. Then, how can a person in whom I'm so disappointed? How can I see him as an authority?
And why are you disappointed in him? If you break a person, a man, he becomes a pushover. If you broke him, he found another woman. What's the reason for disappointment? What did he do wrong to really disappoint you?
Probably he didn't meet my high expectations.
Why are you disappointed in him then?
I don't know. I just don't know how to behave now. I'm just lost. Literally because this happened this summer. It's been half a year of this period. It's hard. I just don't know.
The most dangerous thing for you now is to find someone else before the person who left you returns, because he left unconsciously. He just left because of pain, from an unbearable situation. And I see that in the near future, within 3 months, he will be drawn back. Are you ready for this?
At the moment, no.
Then it turns out you're leaving him, not him leaving you. Do you know what the result is when a woman leaves someone?
No. That's why I'm asking you.
You should be ready for him to return, so prepare for that. Set yourself to wait for him for half a year, and tell him about it, that you will wait for half a year. Look, you always need to understand that your understanding of your fate may be very different from what your fate actually is, and you always need to evaluate the person you're with, first from a positive point of view, from a favorable perspective. Do you think kindness is a good quality?
Of course.
And he was very kind to you.
He was.
Is honesty a good quality?
Yes.
He was very honest with you, wasn't he?
Yes.
And were you honest and kind to him?
No.
Okay, let's continue. He sincerely wanted to satisfy you. Is that good?
Yes.
Yes. And you didn't accept his care. Is that good?
No.
No? Then what is your disappointment about?
That I created an ideal in my head.
From the perspective of your relationship with God, from this point of view, nothing changes in your relationship with God. Now the question of your punishment is being decided from above, and your disappointment in a close person is completely inappropriate here. You should now repent for what happened and wait for him for half a year to come back. And if you sincerely believe that you deserve someone else, he will definitely appear in your life and will break you like a twig.
So should I believe that my husband will return?
It's much better for you to have such a person by your side. Imagine if the one you're waiting for comes now. He'll make mincemeat out of you. Do you think a strong man will tolerate all your whims? Half a year is the term, and repent for what happened. Wait, don't humiliate yourself. You shouldn't degrade now. Become strong again, internally attractive. Draw him away from the person he's living with now, because he won't find happiness there for sure. She's just a nanny, not a wife, a nanny. A person can't live long with a nanny. After 3 months, he won't be able to anymore. That's it. Can you imagine what situation you put this person in and now you want personal happiness? It's simply impossible. You can't build happiness on someone else's misfortune. The person has fallen into a trap. Try to get him back. Attempt to bring him back. Help him. He helped you a lot in life. Now you help him. He's lost his way now. He's losing himself now. Help this person.
I understand. Thank you very much.
This is your duty now. That's why God is not letting you entertain the idea that you need someone else. He's not allowing it. And those people who are appearing around you now, they will just play with you. Don't leave something good to find something better. You've already received a blessing from God. You won't receive it a second time. And those people who are around you now will not take you seriously. Because a serious person was already by your side. Bring him back. But if you can't return him, God will forgive you. Try. Then it will be his choice, this person's choice. Well, human life is a very complicated thing. What questions do you have about the responsibilities of men and women?
Hello? You're saying that a man should know his responsibilities. But what if he doesn't know? I came to your lecture, and I'm listening. My husband listened to the lectures in audio recordings. I just played them myself while he was nearby. He likes some things, and he doesn't like others. He agrees with some ideas, and he disagrees with others.
How do you get a train moving? It takes a lot of effort and it's slow, but we want it to go faster.
How can I make it go faster? Is 10 years of marriage not enough?
It's not about the years, it's about your strength. You can push a train for 100 years and it still won't move. Strength comes from service and discipline. These are two pillars of a woman's strength, and both are needed to inspire a man. Additionally, your own correct inner life, a relationship with God, and prayer are essential.
By fulfilling my duties, will I teach him to fulfill his?
No, he will become grateful for this and insolent at the same time. Fulfilling your duties will make him grateful, and that gratitude will eventually make him listen to you. That means when he becomes grateful, he will start to hear you and do as you want. But for this to happen, you first need to discipline him if he becomes insolent.
We are currently forced to live separately from my husband.
Things will start to improve now. Yes, of course, 100%. If you are deserving,
I'm trying.
then it will improve 100%.
How can he learn to fulfill his responsibilities?
A man doesn't learn right away. His ability to understand the world differs from a woman's. A man learns only through life experience. Only when fate breaks him, knowledge comes to his heart. Lectures alone won't help him. A woman can understand everything through lectures. A man understands everything only when fate hits him. That's why I say, first serve your husband, then create a situation for him to sober up, to understand everything, and he will grow. If you expect him to grow on his own, like many women do, why haven't you developed yourself? Then you'll end up alone. If you don't know how to care for and discipline, you'll end up alone. You shouldn't leave your husband, but living separately can help him realize things.
He asks to come back.
Yes, he asks to come back. Set conditions knowing he'll likely fulfill them about 50% at best. Even that is already good.
I feel sorry for him.
Of course, but if you feel too sorry for him, he will never grow. For example, you want to help your son. He doesn't work, he's lazy, he doesn't want to do anything. Put him out the door, and you'll help him, but do it kindly. That's how he will become responsible. But if you keep supporting and feeding him, he will live at someone's expense, and you will never help him this way. He will never understand that he needs to work himself. It's impossible. A man understands when a war begins. He's lying on the sofa and a war starts. He needs to fight. That's it. And he goes to fight. No one else will fight for him. Is this your husband sitting next to you? I asked, just in case. The man is looking at me, and he agrees with me. He probably relates to this. Thank you for our frank conversation.
I have a question. I accept, I agree with what you're saying, but I need clarification. I want to fulfill my wife's wishes, but I have some inner understanding of the limit, a personal threshold.
Great, well done.
I don't fully understand this balance. I can in principle push this limit even further.
She will spread out then, the river will dry up. If the boundaries are too wide, what happens to the river? It becomes shallow and dries up.
Am I right in thinking I have to cater to her every desire?
Let me explain now. A man lives in the zone of his victories where everything is unexplored. A woman lives in the zone of what is absolutely known. Therefore, if a woman is given clear guidance on how to live, with everything explained and all instructions provided, she becomes absolutely happy because she easily navigates life and easily overcomes her fate. However, for a man, you need to create a zone of victories. If he is placed in a comfort zone where everything is predictable and easy, where everything is good, he loses his sense of purpose. He loses himself completely because a man grows and becomes truly happy only in the zone where nothing is known and where victories and achievements are needed. If a woman is provided with a defined, stable space in life, she thrives in a happy environment and setting. She will be happy there, but she needs to get used to the fact that there are boundaries. She will always push against them and test them. If she realizes there's no further expansion, she won't go any further because that's how her life flows. She will settle within them, flowing along her set path. Yet she will still try to expand it. That's the female nature. Like a river that gradually widens, her aspirations will expand as life permits. The expansion will definitely continue as far as life itself allows.
So does this happen naturally, step by step?
Define your abilities clearly for your wife. Describe your abilities and strictly follow these rules. Set expectations and remain consistent. She will calm down. She needs to accept your defined limits and get used to your capabilities. According to the Vedas, when a woman accepts her husband's character and capabilities in life, she finds happiness. If she struggles to accept her husband's character and capabilities, she becomes unhappy. A man should outline these capabilities honestly. If he promises her more than he can deliver, she will always strive for it and suffer. A woman should also honestly accept her husband's limits. She may naturally want more, but she should also restrain herself in her expectations. Now your question, young lady.
Please tell me, what should a woman avoid doing in relationships to prevent ruining an initially good, warm relationship? How not to harm it?
A woman should know she shouldn't be afraid of ruining the relationship. She should be concerned about the man himself. If she damages the relationship, she can repair it. That's not a problem. She should be afraid of spoiling the man, because a woman has the power to cause harm to a person. For example, if she always yields to him and never corrects him, she spoils him. He will not only become proud, but he will start to beat her. I've even seen cases where a man brought another woman into the family and had sex with her in front of his wife. The reason is the woman who lived with him. She brought him to this state because she never punished him. She never set boundaries or showed self-respect. The second option is the exact opposite. The man becomes weak because the woman never yields, never agrees, and always does everything her own way. She always punishes her husband without supporting him or taking care of him. This second extreme is just as harmful. It completely destroys the man. He either becomes a complete pushover or leaves her cruelly. A woman should be mindful of these two extremes, to which she is constantly drawn. If she starts punishing her husband, she can't stop. If she starts indulging him, she can't stop. Because the nature of a woman is to lean towards one or the other. She should aim for a balance, alternating between support and discipline for her husband. Then she becomes happy. Relationships can be mended, for instance, if you stop talking to him for a week. It may feel like you've damaged the relationship, but then you start talking again, and things immediately recover, because it all depends on you. It's the man who should avoid damaging the relationship with a woman, because if a woman is offended, it takes her several days or even months to forgive, depending on the rigidity of her character. Every woman has a rigid character to a varied degree. Ladies, please raise your hand if you can forgive someone within a few days. Now, those who can't forgive in a few days and need several months. There are such women. Ladies, now raise your hands. Who can forgive in just a few minutes? You're mistaken. You can't forgive in just a few minutes, ladies. You're just pretending to forgive.
I want to forgive, to let go.
It's hard to believe. However, anything is possible in this world. Generally, women forgive with great difficulty. They need a lot of time to forgive, but it's possible to forgive quickly. Okay, let's do some statistics. Ladies, please raise your hand if you forgive quickly.
Look at the audience.
And now, ladies, raise your hand if you forgive slowly. See, there are many more in the second category. Women's psyche is very rigid. They may want to forgive, but they can't. They don't have the strength to forgive. They want to, but it's very difficult for them. They can't forgive. This is why women are psychologically stronger than men. A man would have forgiven 50 times already, while a woman can't forgive. It makes the man wonder why he got involved with her at all. That's how things work in this world, unfortunately. So a woman's concern is not about spoiling the relationship, but rather not spoiling the person with harmful behaviors, because it's possible to spoil a man. Spoiling a woman is very difficult, but spoiling a relationship with her is dangerous. If a man damages a relationship with a woman, it leads to deep mistrust. She no longer believes him, and it's very difficult for her to believe in him again. She suffers next to him but can't do anything about it, because she no longer trusts him. If a man damages the relationship, he disappoints her. But if a woman disappointed a man, let's say, she damaged the relationship with him, she can immediately win him back with charm, and he agrees with that. There are always exceptions, of course. It happens that a woman disappoints a man, then she charms him. She can, in principle, allow herself all this. But if a man offends a woman, he must ask for forgiveness repeatedly before she forgives. On average, I ask my wife for forgiveness about 3 times before she forgives me, even if I usually don't feel guilty. I approach her the first time and say, "Please forgive me." She says, "In your lectures, you say that you don't feel guilty." I respond, "No, I feel guilty now. I'm guilty, although I don't feel it at all." She then says, "I can't yet. I've already asked for forgiveness." She says, "I'll forgive you tomorrow." When I approach the second time, she looks at me and says, "I'm ready to forgive you, but tell me why you did it in the first place." Back to the old story. I've already explained it 50 times. Then I approach her for the third time. "Please forgive me." She looks at me. Here I need some kind of joke. Then she smiles and forgives me. A man should behave honorably next to a woman. He should honorably say that he is guilty. The next day, she will say, "Listen, I think it was my fault." A woman's conscience is very much on the surface, and it is very responsive. Even if she doesn't say it, she'll understand later. A man should say that he's guilty, even if he doesn't feel guilty at all, but a woman won't forgive immediately. You see, she makes up something and invents reasons why she shouldn't forgive. Therefore, preserving the person is more important than preserving the relationship. Don't lose a man as a person by overindulging him or overly constraining him. You shouldn't lose a woman in relationships. You shouldn't spoil relationships with her. It's dangerous. She may become disillusioned, and it's difficult to bring her back. It's hard for her to become disillusioned. She will endure. It will take her a long time to forgive. When she breaks down in a relationship, she stops believing in it. That's it. After that, it's extremely difficult to bring her back. Did you get an answer to your question? Good. Next question, please. Our topic is the duties of men and women, the nature of men and women. Your question, please, go to the microphone.
One cannot only fully serve and one cannot only fully punish. Obviously, there should be some kind of boundary here. I don't feel this boundary. How can I feel it?
Great question. Excellent question. This shows the intelligence of a woman. A woman manages relationships everywhere and always. She is created by nature to manage relationships. Even when a woman is a leader, she leads through relationships, whereas a man leads through actions. A man approaches and says, "What? Do you want me to punish you? Let's go." The other person responds, okay, I understand. But a woman doesn't behave like that. She says, "Vasily Petrovich, how could this happen? We'll have to punish you. Do you agree?" And so on. A woman should lead like this through relationships. But only a very intelligent and perceptive woman can understand the boundary between when to punish and when to encourage. Many women cannot grasp this boundary and go too far in one direction or the other. Life must continue. The most important thing a woman should know is that if she allows her husband everything, she will certainly lose him soon. It's inevitable. Likewise, if her husband is allowed nothing, while she is allowed everything, she will soon lose him. This boundary needs to be understood precisely, 100%.
Can you tell me if I'm going too far with punishment?
All women go too far in some way, just like all men. Are you testing me?
No, I'm honestly confused.
What's your husband's name?
Sergei.
No, you're not going too far. I see him. He's like that. He's quite sturdy. He's just pretending that you're going too far, deceiving you, but he feels fine. Men are quite shrewd, as you know, especially in relationships with women. You're likely spoiling him. You have a good family. Everything will be fine. Don't worry. You just need support right now.
Can I ask about my child then? My youngest child is a smart girl, but she's struggling with one subject.
Well, thank God. That's great.
All the teachers, and even her father, are pressuring her and expecting results. We hire tutors, but there is no progress. She's just afraid, that's all.
That's a different topic. We'll talk about it. My dears, please understand the idiocy within our education system. The reason for this idiocy is that we don't understand human nature. People are like flowers. That is, a person can only be of one color. Their psyche is tuned in one direction, and it's impossible to tune it in another way. But a person is also like a mountain. If the top becomes very high, then the slopes reach everything else. Imagine we let a flower grow upward, and imagine a child likes mathematics. But what do we tell a child? We say, "You're already good at math. You don't need to think about it too much. You're not doing well in literature, so focus on that." By doing so, we suppress the child. Because a child can only develop in the direction of what they like, because that's where their nature lies. So we should tell the child, "You like math? Then focus mostly on math." There are talented children who resist their parents' pressure and do their own thing. That's how it was in my life. There are also passive children who agree with their parents. They seem obedient. Parents think, "I have an obedient child." Let's say she's not doing well in literature, but she sits and tries to study it. Later, these obedient children don't know what to do with their lives. Their parents suppress their intelligence and creativity, wanting to make them have roughly the same grades in all subjects. When parents let the child focus on what they like and don't push on what they don't understand, they open up the child's flower. But there are some really foolish parents who don't understand this. Once a woman came to me and said, "Dr. Torsunov, I have a child, a boy who's completely stupid." I asked her what exactly she meant. She told me he didn't want to go to school. I asked what he did with his time. She replied, "He plays hockey." I asked, "Where does he play?" She said, "In the Moscow team." I told her bluntly the truth, who's the real fool here and who's the smart one. She needed to hear it from me, because her child turned out to be a genius on the contrary, and he was defending his nature. She misunderstood how the human psyche works. Teachers are not the ones to decide on such matters, you understand? Because they will simply ruin the child. Teachers need to fulfill their plan, while parents must raise individuals. Come to an agreement with the teachers. If it's impossible to agree with them, then ignore them. If you see that your child is not excelling in one area, it means they are excelling in something else, because a person's talent in childhood always manifests very narrowly and very strongly. If a child is talented, they will be very strongly passionate about one thing, and everything else will seem like a fog. This means that the flower can grow high and open up strongly. Give them this opportunity. Don't limit them. Be bold. Ignore the education system that lacks the understanding of these things. Then everything will be fine for you. When I realized I wanted to be a doctor, I started studying very well. Before that, I was a poor student. Why did I start studying well? Because I knew that otherwise I wouldn't get into medical school. As a result, the diploma that I showed at the medical institute had only excellent grades, you understand?
I understand. We can't even get a passing grade, and I don't know this subject either.
And yet you're alive and doing fine.
Well, I'm alive, but she needs at least to pass the subject.
She doesn't need anything. Guide her toward what she loves, and the mountain will start to rise. As soon as she starts developing according to what she needs, she will pull up what she doesn't know. She will do it herself willingly, as I did. I'm explaining this to you. I had excellent grades in all subjects. I had to work hard for some of them, and some things came easily to me because I wanted to be a doctor. Also, I was allowed to do it my way. At one point, my mother said, "Do whatever you want. I can't take it anymore." She said so because I was running barefoot in the snow wearing only swimming trunks when I was 12 years old. I was fasting too. Once I ate so many carrots that my skin turned yellow. They took me to the hospital for jaundice patients. I was standing on my head there. The doctor came over and said, "A jaundice patient? It's Botkin's disease. It implies severe weakness. This one has been standing on his head for 5 minutes already. How could this be Botkin's disease?" He told me, "Get out of here." The doctor turned out to be a decent guy. I turned white on my own without treatment, because they didn't give me carrots in the hospital. My mother thought, "Lord, what should I do with him? It's completely impossible to do anything." So eventually she just left me alone. From there I began to develop normally as a person. I caught up with everything on my own because I had a goal in life. But you are extinguishing the goal in your child. You are simply extinguishing it. How old is the child?
She is 13 years old.
Don't rush. Everything is fine. Let her develop naturally, and in 3 or 4 years she will really take off. Try to develop deeply what she likes. What does she like? Which subject does she enjoy?
Mathematics, history, everything except Russian and English.
So does she have a weak mechanical memory?
No, her memory is good.
I see what you mean. Don't insist, it's not necessary. Give her the chance to grow where her strengths lie, and she will learn everything herself in her own time. Just take a deep breath and exhale. I guarantee it. Now I'll tell you how this works. When a child starts pursuing what they truly enjoy, their intelligence begins to strengthen and becomes very powerful. A strong intelligence brings the ability to make oneself do anything. Therefore, your goal is to ensure that your child finds something to love, something she can live for, rejoice in, and feels passionate about. During this time, her intelligence will begin to strengthen and her willpower will develop. Her enthusiasm and her ability to understand will grow. All these will develop alongside her natural talents, creative abilities, and strengths. If you suppress this in her simply by forcing her to do what she doesn't want to do, you'll turn her into a passive, spineless person, a will-less patty. Do you understand? And what about the teachers? They are forcing you. They will criticize and say that you are irresponsible parents. But remember, you have to live with her for the rest of your life, and they don't. Ignore their words. Take the position of your child. Defend her right to live and become a strong personality. Don't let others extinguish your child by making her do what she's not meant to do according to her fate.